Well, hello, hello, my beautiful butterflies. This is Misunderstood, and this is also your fibromyalgia channel. I just wanted to go over a few things to explain a little bit about fibromyalgia for those who are not familiar. Fibromyalgia was first recognized in 1987 by the AMA, which is the American Medical Association. In the 1820s, fibromyalgia was called fibrosis back then, believe it or not, which is kind of odd. And the majority of people who had fibromyalgia were women. Though men get it, don't get me wrong, back then it was predominantly women. Now, I don't know if it's because men didn't report it or if they just didn't really have it too much back then in the 1820s. Now, the term fibromyalgia was coined in 1976 by Philip Kalin Hinch. A clinical study was done in 1981, and that was the time that they came up with the tender points, which we all, if we sit in our seat or we're laying down, we all pretty much know where our tender points are. Okay? The disease was labeled the invisible disease because you can't easily recognize it just by looking at us. So, unfortunately or fortunately, that does cause issues in our life. It's a different condition to take care of, and lots of physicians kind of shy away from it because it causes lots of pain, and they find their patients call quite often um, searching for different cure alls to help them get through it. Now, this is a debatable one. Fibromyalgia is not an autoimmune or an autoinflammatory disease. Now, we'll put a pin in that one and come back to that one later because that's kind of up for debate, okay? Now, as far as the best painkiller, it depends on you. Now, we all have fibromyalgia, obviously, but the pain is very different depending on each individual. So we each, as people and humans, um, feel pain differently and different sensitivities to pain, some less sensitive, some more sensitive to light and things of that nature, okay? Now, another question people ask is, does fibromyalgia ever stop hurting? Okay, you guys answered that's right. No, it doesn't. So for you who don't know a lot about fibromyalgia and you're trying to learn for a, family member or a loved one, it really never stops hurting. We might not complain, but it never stops hurting. Now, there are things that can make the fibromyalgia better or it can make it worse. One of the things that I have found is, and I know you guys, I would love for you to, later on when we have an open chat forum to drop it in the chat. But what I have found is weather makes a huge difference in how I feel, especially cold weather. Cold weather is horrible. Rain and the cold, it's really bad for us. Um, and I'll give you some techniques again, things that I use to help. But right now, I just want to tell you what the things are that kind of seem to make it worse for me. Different times of the day, like early in the morning or late in the evening. When I'm stressed, if I'm working, I'm doing something, trying to get something done, working or standing or walking, um, anything in a repetitious type motion, exercising, poor posture, or even overexerting yourself. Like maybe you might be cleaning your home and then all of a sudden you're up and down the stairs with a vacuum and you're like, ooh, I'm pooped. I'm a tad winded. Um, so that can definitely cause you to feel worse. Now there is a phrase. There's a couple of phrases that I wanted to bring up to your attention, and most of you already know it. But what would you call it what would you call it when you're not feeling well and all of a sudden you just feel horrible? Give you a few minutes. Okay, well, I'll give you a few seconds. A flare up, definitely. That is called a flare up. And that's when all of a sudden you're doing okay, and then all of a sudden it's just like a Mack truck just hit you. You're like, whoa, like I'm so tired. I don't understand why I'm so tired, or I don't understand why my back hurts, or my shoulders, or my arms. Definitely, those are called flare ups. Flare ups, I'm sorry. Um, and fibromyalgia is not curable, but definitely manageable. So that's something also to know. Um, a few fibromyalgia feelings that I go through. Um, Sometimes I get frustrated, overwhelmed, and all of these feelings are valid. You're valid for feeling all these and more. I'm just naming a few that I go through. Um, Sometimes I feel stuck. Um, I don't like to feel dependent on anybody. I also feel exhausted, stressed, tired, um, fatigue, and sometimes I even feel like giving up because it's very hard. It's very difficult to live with. Now, my background is in sales management. Um, so, in my positions that I've held in the past, it's always been, in a management position in a retail world. Um, and I have always been a perfectionist, always wanting to be there early or not wanting to. I've always come early and I've left late. Um, and I don't expect my people to do that who worked for me. However, that's what I did. I'm a team player. I would always help everybody in their endeavors. If they had a question about something, I would always help them. So, yeah, I definitely, being a perfectionist is very stressful. And helping people is even more stressful. But what I did find is what my son told me is there is only one way to eat an elephant. And I never heard that before, and that is one bite at a time. So let that sit with you for a second. Um, Another phrase that my son told me, or saying that my son told me, is Mom, life is a marathon, not a race. So those two things help me a lot when I feel like I have 10 things to do in a day and my body will only allow me to do three of them. And I get kind of teary because I used to be able to do all those things and take care of a husband and kids and work and the house and dinner and laundry and schoolwork. I used to be able to do all of those things, and now it's difficult to just get through a few. So that definitely helped me. But here's a fun fact, you guys. Um, Famous people with fibromyalgia: Nikki Marshall, Lady Gaga. I didn't even know she had it. Morgan Freeman, uh, Sinead O'Connor, Kyle Richards. I don't know if you guys watch any reality TV, but if you do, I believe she was on Housewives of Beverly Hills. Kyle Richards. She's related to who is she related to? The Hiltons, actually. Paris Hilton. Kyle Richards is their aunt. Kind of a fun fact. Lena Dunham, Carrie Ann Inaba, Frida Kahlo, Selma Blair, Michael James Hastings, Rosie Hamlin, Janae Garofalo, and AJ Langer. So, if you know any of those people, they are dealing with fibromyalgia, and on a much bigger scale because they're actors or writers or singers, and so that's quite a burden to carry. The next episode, this is episode 1, but in the second episode, I'm going to go over the spoon theory. Um, and I think it's really interesting. The spoon theory will help you get through whatever you need to get through. And most people start off with 12 spoons. Um, I have elected to start off with 8 spoons. So the amount of spoons that you start off with depends on you. So it's your choice, and you can kind of have a little fun with it and play with it. But definitely, I definitely want to talk about the spoons. So thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Please find a warm, cozy place this evening with a blanket, or, to cuddle up with somebody and stay warm, because that is the key, staying warm. Layers are also good, so you can peel off layers. So If you get too hot, you can actually take some layers off, but make sure you have like warm and fuzzy clothes. Those feel really good. Socks are excellent. Fuzzy socks. It's Christmas time. So those are the type of things you might even want to ask for Christmas. Heating blankets, massagers. From what I found, the vibrating type of massagers, those don't help me, but the massagers that are more stimulating, um, those help because they get the um, deep down tissue, deep tissue massage as if you were at a salon. So again, God bless. It was great talking to you again, and I look forward to giving you some more information based on what I know. God bless, butterflies.